Can you talk a little bit about how Derrida approaches the idea of forgiveness?
I mean, the outside hypothesis, if you like, that is followed through in the work is the idea that one can only forgive the unforgivable. Right? He says at a certain point, I wrote it down for us, there is forgiveness, if there is such a thing, only of the unforgivable. So what does he mean by that? He means that the trivial things that we say sorry for, right? Pardon me.
Yes.
Right. And
no harm done.
He opens right. He opens the whole seminar with saying pardon in French, which means sorry. But which is in essence saying forgive me, right? The trivial things where that is working are trivial, right? And can be forgiven, right? So as soon as I say sorry, you say no harm done, right? I bump into you, I say sorry, you say no harm done. That's forgivable. He says if there's any real forgiveness, right, it has to go much further than that. It has to go all the way to those things that we consider to be unforgivable. And the first example he takes in the first session of the first year of Volume 1 is a book by the philosopher Vladimir Yankelevich, who wrote a book on forgiveness, right? And he was writing it against the background of the Holocaust, right? So there would be an example, right? How can one forgive the Nazis for the Holocaust? One can't, in a sense, right? On the other hand, if there is anything, if there is a forgiveness that really is forgiveness in the strong sense of the word, it would have to be up to the task of forgiving the unforgivable. And, he works from that through various things such as, in French there is, and in most countries that have adopted human rights law in relation to crimes against humanity, there is, in France in particular, there is a law that says there's no statute of limitations for a crime against humanity. They use the word imprescriptible, the imprescriptible, meaning to say that it's not anything that can ever be written off, right? So, if Hitler were alive today, or any of those Nazi figures that were condemned at Nuremberg, if those people were around 50 years later, 75 years later, however much later it happened to be, they would still be, under French law, they would still be liable to be tried for the crimes they had committed. So there is a sense in which the law is saying this is unforgivable, right? But that is, of course, in tension with the way that forgiveness functions, culturally, from trivial cases all the way to more serious cases, politically, from smaller things all the way through, and another example he refers to is the Truth and Reconciliation Commission in South Africa.